Masech Menahot Daf Ayin Dalet Amud Aleph, 19 lines down. Tanya Idach, first word of the line Idach. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Shimon hold Minhat Hotesh HaKohanim Nikmetzet. If the sinner Minha of a Kohen is Chayav in, it is Chayav in Kibbutz. והקומץ קרב בעצמו, והשיריים קרבים בפני עצמם, the comets is burnt by itself and the remainder is burnt by itself. Rabbi Elazar Shimon, he says, הקומץ קרב בעצמו, והשיריים פלסטין מאבד addition. The comets is burnt, but the remainder are scattered by the ashes location. Different location. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yahya Baraba. Abi Baraba Yahya asks the question. Best edition Deicha. Which ashes? Location. Idim ala hayu avua. If he says to the same place again and happens beach, then the same thing as his father, he burned his beach. Iltimately, referring to the lower one. Yesh lechad davar shekril mata. Nothing's ever put there. The Gemara says Amar Rabbi Abba. Dilma leibun. It means just to chuck it, like in the garbage. That's what it means. The Gemara says Amar Hokelea. He said nah. The laugh said that yesh lechad davar shekril leibun. You don't offer it by throwing it out. The Gemara says okay, fine. Tana avoid the be'avin. Kol minhat kohen kalit yellow teachel. Every minhat the kohen should be burnt. Don't eat it. La'achila hishkatia l'davar acher. You it's compared to eating and not anything else. My kamar, what's the proof of this? The Gemara says Amar Hachi kamar means as follows: Kol minhat kohen lo teachel chavato. Every minhat of a kohen should not be eaten. That refers to his like a sinner's minhat. Kalit yellow says it should be burnt, and vato is referring to voluntary. Marsamad Ravav, Sakina Harifa Mafseka Kra. You're cutting up the pasukim. You're taking the same pasuk and reading it in two different ways. Mar says, Amal Rava, Elmar Rava, Bakum and Had Kohen Kati Yed Nivato, every minha of a Kohen should be burnt. That's referring to a voluntary minha. Lo Teachal, don't eat it. Chabato refers to like the sinner minha. Beipachana, who says the opposite? Maybe who says that? Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe you could reverse that format. The Gemara says, it makes sense that you should include the voluntary mincha that is burnt. Shekin did it because more frequent. Lo hati, it's not brought for avira, and besim rehe, it has a good smell. The Gemara says the opposite. You might want to include it to like the sinner's mincha because it's similar in the following ways. Shekin isaron has just like a hevitin has the isaron, and chava it's for an obligation. The Gemara says no, hanan chafishin voluntary mincha has more common denominators. That's why it's burnt in mizbeach, and the sinner's mincha is put by the ashes. According to Chachamim. Hi, Kohen Had Kohen Kati Lo Ta'achal Ma'avid. There is that pasuk. He says, "I'm by the fulfilling Brayta." And the Tekateh. I only know that the first pasuk of the Chavitim mentions that it should be burnt to smoke, but the Tanah Belot Ta'achal in the second pasuk of any Menahav Kohen is included when we eaten. Minan etin ne'amur b'zev shazev b'zev etamur shazev b'zev. How do we apply from one halacha to the next to each one? So the pasuk says Kalil completely, Kalil Gzer Shva Gzer Shva. The American mentions Kalil by regular mincha Kohen. The American Kalil also mentions by the Chavitin. Malan B'Dachit Tifus over there means burning it. Afkan Gzer Tifus burning it. Uma Kan the ten lotas Chalush like over there telling you not to eat it. Afalan not to also over a lot has to eat it. By the way, there's a question. Kevin Shachan and Murin Mahu. What's the halacha? If the Kohen ate from the imurin from a korban, what's the halacha? Lav dizeru, does that mean it's because he wasn't allowed to eat it? It's as if a non-Kohen ate something, right? So usually a Kohen is able to eat something that a Kohen's allowed to eat. Foreign person, a non-Kohen, can't eat that. So maybe if he eats something that he's not supposed to eat, it's considered like a non-Kohen eating something. Looking by it's not a question that he's chayav. Kikayin by have a question. Lav de kalutia. Is that part of the part goes against the isur of burning? My what's the halacha? Is it two isurim or not? The Gemara says Marafana Tashma being approved. 10 says the Bezal Mer Kol Shub anything that's chayav to be burnt. L'ten not tasei achlos. There's no separate isur to be eaten. No Mishnah. Minhat Kohanim Minhat Kohen Mashiach. The minhat of Kohen, the minhat of the Kohen Gadol, minhat Nizachim, minhat the libations. The mizbeach and the Kohanim it's for the mizbeach and nothing for the Kohen to eat it. That's regarding this korbanot. The mizbeach stronger than the kohanim. Let's see what that means. Completely by the kohanim, nothing from mizbeach. In that regard, the kohanim, the strength of the kohanim is more than the strength of the mizbeach. But to that what means nothing else. But we know that that's completely more than the mizbeach. The Gemara says no. Ika orad the kohanim. The height of that kohen of that mizbeach of that korban goes to the kohanim. Ika of the bird Allah also. The Gemara says ika nur avanasa. It's not true. The crop and the feathers also are given to the Kohen. The Gemara says va'ika nisachim, but libations. The Gemara says the shtitin nazir. That's not for the mizbeach per se. That just drains out. Umay Bazoo, what is that? We're saying, oh, that one's stronger than the next. What does that mean? The Gemara says, La Fugni Shmuel excludes what Shmuel says. Damar Shmuel Shmuel holds, and the Devi An Viyom Laflazal Gabim Ishim. Someone blades wine is a separate Korban. You bring it to the Midash and the Kohen sprinkles on the fires. So therefore, our Mishnah said, Kamashman, Delishatin, as we say, no, you must pour it down the drain of the drain of the Beach. Misal Shmuel, proof according to me, Shmuel said, Damar Shmuel, Hamanadab Hashem is one with oil, come to the Kohen God does commit with it, Vishirav Nechlin, then you eat the remainder of it. Shelach Menach Panim, next part Mishnah says that the Shelach Menach Panim, but the Kohanim, nothing to the Beach, Vishilaka, what I mean is nothing else. Vaika Hadat off, the bird of Hadat also eaten by the Kohen. The Gemara says, Ika Dama, no, the blood gets to the Beach. Vaika Log Shemen Shemosarab, the Log Shemen, the log of the oil from Misra is given to the Kohen. The Gemara says, Ika Mashasab there, that's different because you do have to apply some of it to the Parochet. Umay Bezu, again, the second part when it said that the Kohanim is stronger than the Mizbeach in the second half. What does that mean? The Gemara says, "La'avubi man damar sh'elechem ba'odin b'nei man sefa," it excludes the opinion that holds that if the sh'elechem brought by themselves without the lambs, it will be burnt. This teaches you that it will not be burnt, and therefore the sh'elechem will always be given to the Kohanim at the Mizbeach. No Mishnah. Must be done in a kadosh vessel. Need 3 rounds of oil. Yisika, pouring it first, without mixing it. Also putting the oil in the vessel before making the mincha. Halot b'lan, you mix the oil into the mincha after they made it into bread. Divided by according to the big. So you mix it while there's still flour. Halot the halot means to be mixed with oil. Rikin mishicha, and the rikin wafers are smeared with oil after you make them. Kesem mishchar, how you smear it? Kimin chi, the shape of a chi, which we're going to explain either as a U or an X, or like a tet. Different ways of learning it. And the Kohanim and the rest of the oil is taken by the Kohanim. Ma'utimai, why are we saying prepared in a kli? Excluding what? Ma'arbala, ma'utim minhat na'afeh, that excludes the oven baked minha that can be done in an oven. Timranan, ve'im minhat marheshet korban chas b'shemen te'aseh, v'meshet natan shemen bikli. The reason why we say there has to be oil in the vessel is because it says that you're doing it fine flour in oil, not oil and fine flour. It must be putting the flour in the oil. Similarly, mood that we say, side note, fun stuff, bonus. Same thing regarding when we do kisud adam, it also has to be done in dirt. The blood has to be, the bird has to be slaughtered over dirt. The blood has to be landing in the dirt, and then you cover it with dirt because it's ba'afar, in the dirt. This will be a sandwich. Korban Necha, the word Korban Necha is there, Shabbat, teach you that what? My kan matan gem, the leech is over there, you have to put the oil in the vessel. After matan leech is better than hashid as well. Malan and sikah, leech is like over there, by the hashid, you have to, machamad, you have to do pouring and mixing. After and sikah is last, to hashid as well, you have to pour and mix. Okay, so number 9. Halot bilot, you see they mix the oil into the menachot after they got made in the bread. I'm saying no, so it's only when they're flour. So flour mixed the oil. I'm not mentioning that as well. You mix it with flour. The Gemara says no. Halot b'lulot, you mix it with when you mix the menachot after they made it into bread. Shneimar halot b'lulot. I'm really said to them, okay, but we know by the bread of the Sudan. The 40 breads is mixed with oil as well. It's impossible to mix them when they're bread, but it has to be flour. So it must be flour. Kesed said, what do you do? If you put oil first into the vessel, then on top then you put the flour, then you put more oil on top. Sandwich. Then you eat it. But fine, you bake it. Then you break it into pieces, then you put more oil on top of the pieces. The comment thing to Kmitza. Rabbi Meir says, Chalot. Shenamar says, Halot, B'Shemin. Kesed said, what do you do? You put the oil first in the vessel. But on top then you put the flour. You knead it. Then you bake it. Then you break it. Then you mix oil. Then you put more oil again. The comment thing to Kmitza. So basically, the difference is, do you put oil before or after baking it? That's the difference. Now, the argument of saying you can't mix the breads when loaves, which what does that mean? In the case of today, you have only a quarter log of oil for 20 breads. How do you split it amongst loaves? It's very little. Must be, has to be both flour. The Gemara says, Hahalot Ti'aunot the halot needed mixing the oil, and the rikikin just need to smear it on top. Number 9. Right, it says halot b'dilot, mix with the oil, bread. The lot rikikin will not with the rikikin. Because you might think logically, machal and antunas mishichah, halot not need to be smeared. To know below, you still mix it. Rikikin should not mishichah, so rikikin which are smeared and not interested in the halot, they for sure mixed as well. And to remember, the pasuk says halot b'dilot, no halot mixed, not rikikin. Now we're gonna have vice versa. Rikikin mishichah. Rakin or smear below halb min shahab, not the chalat. She achad because logically meant the opposite. Mar rakin in the large side rakin would not be mixed. So then she has still to be smeared. So halat shouldn't be allowed. The halat needs to be mixed. And then she doesn't so for sure need to be smeared. Remember the pasuk says rakin mishachin rakin smeared. Below halb min shahab not chalat smeared. ما يتم مداهرة من from the Gemara said مرة لا لاشتميت في الاختلاف. The pasuk could have just said حلot مشيخات ركين ملين. Halot smeared and a rikin mixed. Since there's no pasuk, it's not an option. Kesa mashchan kamin ki v'ashar nechav. He said, how do you smear it? You make it like a chi. My kamin chi, what is a chi? Marav kana kamin chi Yavanese is the Greek chi, which we mentioned either an X, tiet, or U. تمام من حابة أبا يحسب حلط ما يحسب الركين لأن هذا has half حلط and half الركين ما بين log شمن بحساو. You bring a log, split it. حيث حلط بحساو الركين بقول half half. فحلط باللن mix the oil into the chalot. The rakim meshachan, you smear the oil into the rakim. Meshach the rakia, rakik al panei kolon. You make sure you smear the rakik over the entire surface. Ushara shemin mahzir the chalot, and the rest of the oil you put it back into the chalot. Rishun beida, rishun rishun omer. Mashchan kmin china, you smear in oil in the chi shape. Ushara shemin the chalot, and you give the rest away. تاني إيدخ الركين هبا إن تنس معنى every king by themselves maybe log shemin you bring a log of oil ومشخان وزن مشخان you smear and you re-smear عاد شيء خلاه كون شمن كل log until you finish all the log oil. There's bad reason when you don't mention which one. Mush hammer me chi make a chi. Ushar shemen echad konim. The rest you give to the konim.